Well, greeting capsuleers and welcome to the Eve Compass podcast, episode 5. So today we have the pleasure of having the creator behind the channel EVEAlone. So
Oh,
for the longest time, I've treated Eve like a solo game. Then I started my corporation and stuff, and I found someone who just did the exact reverse. He did turn Eve into a solo game and a solo challenge. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast.
thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So I guess you didn't start Eve, when you started your series. So how long have you been playing Eve for?
So I've been playing Eve since 2010, and it's I've been playing since then, but there was a bit of a year gap between 2010 and 2011, and that was because at the time you couldn't actually get the Eve membership. So for a whole year, I was doing nothing but trial accounts. So every account was a 14-day trial, and I would just re-roll the next one when that trial would run out.
Wow.
So officially, 2011 was when I was finally got right full on, got membership. I can actually play Eve as a we now call them Omega clones, but back then it was just basically you just needed membership.
Okay, so back then there wasn't the alpha and omega distinction yet.
No, there wasn't. It was the two distinctive ones. Well, you could technically say three because you had the 14-day trial, and that was essentially just you can log in, you basically make an account, and you got 14 days, and the 14 days started as soon as you made your account on the website. It wasn't when you made your character, it's when your account was created. So, see, you can tell I got really good at this.
Yeah.
The second one was a buddy code, and I think the buddy code was either 30 days or 21 days, and it was essentially just the same as the 14-day trial, but it was an extension. So instead of 14 days, you did 21 days, but it was all the same trial restrictions, which are quite similar to the alpha restrictions.
Are they?
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, there were certain ships that you couldn't actually fly on a trial, which mining barges were one of them. Similar in an alpha account. I don't think you can fly mining barges on an alpha account.
No,
And
unless you get the expert system stuff, but no, otherwise you
oh,
can't.
oh, really? You need the expert system to fly mining barges now. That is interesting. I did not
I
know
guess
about that.
you can stay in alpha and you pay like I don't know. I could pull that. It's about like I don't know a few plex, and you can basically fly a mining barge for a certain amount of time.
That's pretty cool. I did not know that. I thought it was like locked out entirely. And then the third one was I remember getting a game code on a trial game code, which was 30 days. Or was that similar to like a World of Warcraft war chest? Do you remember those where you got
Yeah, I
like
do.
you got the original Warcraft, you got the Burning Crusade, and inside you got 30 days of game time. It was something similar with Eve, and I can't remember how I got that, but I did make an alt account with that 30 days. I specifically remember that, and I got up to a mining barge, and I was quite chuffed with myself at that. I do not remember the password. I've forgotten the password and the username. I don't even know what it is, so that's lost to time.
So you've been playing since then. Are you like a secret like big null sec bro, or you're a high sec
Oh,
care bear? Like, what's your usual play style outside the
everywhere.
series? Yeah.
Everywhere. So in 2011, when I finally got playing properly, it was all high sec stuff. So I joined a mining corporation. I did mining with them. Um, they then showed me how to outfit ships properly. They showed me how to then play with level 3 and level 4 missions. I do remember them doing like weekend gameplays where they would take everyone into a level 4 mission to show them, and everyone was flying their cruisers and battle cruisers, just the typical like new bro stuff that you would get back then. And then I do remember that they decided that they wanted to move into wormholes. So that was my first taste of moving from high sec to somewhere a little bit more dangerous. And from wormholes, what we did was, oh god, it was the most silliest thing ever. We found a random wandering wormhole to a class 5 wormhole that was a black hole system. And we thought, this is great. Look how many mining sites there are. We're going to set up our pause tower here. We're going to do loads of mining, but this is going to be amazing. None of us knew anything about scanning.
Oh,
One guy, One guy, the only guy who knew how to scan, was the one that found the wormhole and said, "This is a great idea, guys. Let's get our large POS in here. Let's get it all ship maintenance array and corporate hangars, and let's move in." And we did so much mining. We lived there for about a month or two, and we did so much mining. We had 4 corporate hangar arrays full of the ABC ores, just full. And it was a case of like, how do we get out? It didn't dawn on us that we should have left or found a way out of the wormhole. So for about a month, we did all this mining and we got stuck in a class
Huge
5 black
stockpiles,
hole.
but no way to get them out.
We had no way to get them out, and I can guarantee every time we opened up the corporate hangar array, what happened was we had to offline the other ones that were full so that we could use the new one. Um, but that was like my first taste of wormholes, and after that, once we finally self-destructed and said, "Yeah, that's it, we're going back to high sec," I joined a low sec group corp. It was a low sec group PvP corp, and it didn't do good. I didn't know it was. I'm sure you've heard the joke before, but when I joined that group, I asked them, "Huh, can I just bring my Drake?" Which is what I did, and again got attacked at a gate on the way to their staging. So that was my first experience of PvP,
It's
where
yeah.
I just tried to travel to the low sec staging and I got caught by another Drake and blown up. It was fantastic.
So you
But yeah,
so you did basically everything. You dabbled in industry, PvP, and all that.
yes, it's quite interesting as well because we, from what I remember, we then moved to class 3 wormholes to do the same thing. We decided class 5 was too much. Class 3 is probably going to be the best choice. And that's where I met some of the, what's it called, guys that I still talk to today. And class 3 is when I finally started to get a hang of the game. And I think at that point it was like, I want a Tengu. I want to do everything I can to get a Tengu. Uh, couldn't get a Tengu. Too much, too hard.
Did you?
No, I didn't get a Tengu. I then decided, you know what? I've seen this video called "I'm in a Roke," which is literally just a Eve created video of a guy singing about him flying in a rock, and I love it. I love that. I saw that video and I thought, I don't want a Tengu no more. I want a roke. I want to get this with 425 millimeter railguns. I want this thing. This is so cool. Coolest ship I've ever seen. I bought a blueprint copy, put it in a shuttle, and brought it to the C3 with stars in my eyes, thinking, I'm going to make this ship in this wormhole. I'm going to have a roke and I'm going to build it all myself. Only to accidentally warp 150 kilometers away from the tower, leaving the blueprint in the shuttle, and then having to slow boat it back in a pod, try and get the shuttle with the blueprint on it.
Oh,
But
so
no,
so I mean,
go ahead.
even back then, you had like a knack for like self sufficiency, like building your own stuff, right?
It's a case of like I looked at the mechanics and I thought, man, it would be pretty cool to build it my own, because I guess it was a case of like childlike wonder and whatnot, where you're still kind of you're still not really seeing the efficient way of doing it. Because let's be honest, the one thing that kind of gets gripe against me on Eve is that everyone is always breaking everything down to be like ISK per hour. So everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, oh don't do this activity because it's got horrible ISK per hour. Go do this activity because it's got the best ISK per hour." And then with that, oops, sorry, with that ISK that you make, you can then buy this ship, which will improve your ISK per hour before as well. It's like, to me, it was like, I like the look of that ship. I want to get that ship. And how I get there, whether I construct it or whether I grind ISK to buy it off of another player, well, we'll see. But that's just a weird thing that I'll see a goal and I'll want a goal, and I'll either build it or I'll do it my own way, or I'll do my own like exploration to get the money for it. I don't really like the ISK per hour mentality of like, oh, you've got to do this activity because this is the only way that you make money with.
Oh no, that's so true. Like, it's kind of cliche to say, but I'm looking for fun per hour, right? I mean, like I'm like right now I'm a high sec miner, mostly like industrial. It's like I could go to null sec, find some group, and mine. Like
Oh
I could
no,
make 10 times
100%.
the ISK, but I would be treated like like a fucking Walmart employee. That's not what I'm looking for. I have a job I don't really like anymore in life. Like what I want to do is have fun when I log in. So yeah, I look at it more as fun per hour than ISK per hour.
It's difficult as well because the longer you play Eve, the more you kind of like understand that it's like, yeah, okay, I could just go out and join a big block. If I want to do mining, I could join a big block, go to nullsec, and I can get access to some of the rare ores. I can do all that, but then it's like I don't want to turn Eve into a second job. And
Yep.
don't get me wrong, there's people out there that really enjoy Eve as a second job, and power to them. If that's how you find the way that you want to enjoy Eve, that's fine. Go for it. That's your prerogative. But for me, it's like I can't sit down and do mining for like hours on straight just because it's like the best way of getting money. I kind of want to just jump around, hop around, and do everything. And throughout my entire Eve career, I've always jumped between different things. I've not kind of stuck to the one thing. I've moved around. I've done
Yeah, and you're not
industry.
like tethered to a group or waiting for pings to do anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. Nullsec, I was part of a few Nullsec alliances, and I think it was around 2012, 2014. We moved out to like I was still part of the same group at that time because we basically became like a close group of friends, and we just hopped to different corporations. We even made our own corps. And in the one area that we went to was out in Detroit, like bottom right corner of the map. But we're talking absolute edge of the map, the furthest you can get away. Like genuinely, the distance was insane. And it was in that area that we just set up different pulse towers, different moon mining arrays, and we did Tech 2 industry. We basically just manufactured all the moon goo and we used carriers because back then carriers had more jump range than jump freighters. So it was
Alright.
you just use them as big suitcases to move stuff from the
Wow.
bottom
Really?
corner of Eve, and you would move them to a low sec station, and then you would move it all to Jita and sell it there. But that's the industry that we did there, and because it was so far away, no one really showed up. No one came over to contest you. So you just done your industry. You paid the rent because that's what we were renting off of a bigger alliance, and we done the PVE sites. We done the Angel Cartel stuff, and it was great. It was that was a fantastic area, and we were making so much money. Then the carrier changes came, and their range got nerfed, and we realized can't do this anymore. So so that was
Yeah.
when we left. It's like so
We're in the middle of
no,
absolute nowhere. We can't travel as efficiently. Yeah.
yeah, it was going to be like it was going to take us 3 jumps in a car. Now it's going to take us 7. Nope, nope, that's it. We're done. That's too much.
All right. Then
Uh,
when did the idea of your evil on your Ironman challenge, let's call it that way, like when did that sprout? Actually.
oh god, that idea has been for a long time been sitting in my mind. Um, I've recently started watching old school RuneScape content. What I mean by recently, I'm talking about maybe 2, 3 years ago. Started seeing a lot of these guys and then them doing their own Ironman challenges because it was a game mode that was officially added into the game in RuneScape, which was pretty cool. And I thought, right, this is interesting that they're making their accounts specifically set up to have to mine their own minerals, fight the monsters to get specific drops. And I just found that like that's pretty cool. It's interesting content. It's something that's kind of like shines in the sea of all the other content. It's not that I don't like PvP content or any other Eve content that's available, but it's something different, something interesting. And the issue is that I've constantly been putting it on the back burner. I was constantly putting it back, saying, "Ah, well, maybe I shouldn't. It's not going to work out. It's not going to be good." I was worried about. It's like, oh well, who's going to watch it? No one's gonna. No. Eve is already a very niche game as it is. Like, who's going to sit and watch me trying to struggle my way to building a cruiser of all things? And
Yeah, because it's a niche within a niche within a niche.
exactly, exactly. So it's like it's a case of I've got to find a player who knows about Eve, likes Eve, but then I've got to find someone who will sit down and watch me just slow boat the entire way of progress. It's like it took me a couple of days to get up to a destroyer of all things. It's just like what's the first thing you do when you play Eve? You complete the tutorial missions, you get to advanced military 10 out of 10, and you get given a destroyer. You can do that in like 3 hours when you start the game. Me, on the other hand, oh no, we can't do that. Not allowed any of those. That's way too easy. We're gonna go and grind for our ISK. We're gonna go into the mines and get the blueprint for our destroyer. Just-
Right. And well, like the rules, like we'll get back to them, but the rules you set yourself for this challenge, was it like inspired from the actual old school RuneScape thing?
Well, this is the thing. in the corp that I'm part of, some of the guys have actually done this challenge already before, but they've not recorded it. They've not put it,
Right.
they've not showed it to the world. So they already had a rule set up. So I looked at that rule set and I thought, this is actually pretty good. I'm going to tweak a few things just so I'm not suffering the entire way. So, so there is actually a dedicated community of Iron Man players in Eve that they have been doing this before because once again it was an idea from RuneScape and they thought, well, that's an MMO. Let's try it on this MMO and we'll see how it goes. From what I remember, they actually have their own special Iron Man Corp. So for me, I'm looking at all the stuff that I need to like upgrade in the future and all the ships that I would like to get and all the blueprint and modules that I would like to get. One of the most difficult ones is I'm going to be stuck with my Pioneer for a long time. That is my best mining ship that I have. And it's going to be my best mining ship for possibly months, maybe even years.
A good
Because
while, yeah.
no, it's crazy. I looked at the blueprint costs of something like a mining barge. It's like 1.4 billion for the blueprint. I'm like, what? For a
Yep.
mining barge?
And
And
you have to get it like, butt fuck nowhere in nullsec also.
exactly, and it's a case of like, well, I could probably make copies. I could buy the original and make copies, but I've not checked. I don't even know if any of the stations in Outer Ring actually have copying services. So it's like, I'm gonna need to buy this 1.4 billion blueprint, but then I'm also gonna have to try and get it out of Outer Ring without getting blown up by a smart bomb on the way home. So it's like,
Yeah, yeah, I know what that's like. Cause well, I did lose a shuttle that was over 5 billion on a trip like this to get the barges PPO. So,
oh
yep, in
no,
Syndicate, like it was like almost the last system in Syndicate
it's
before I could get the high sec, and I got blapped, and I was like, yeah, yeah, of
always the last
course,
system. It's always the last system.
yeah,
When I did my journey to get the Venture Blueprint, I noticed that the first few systems out of HiSec packed full of people, and then it was dead, dead. Like I'm talking 10, 15 jumps of no one in the null sex. It
like
was
creepily dead.
creepily dead. But I did use a fantastic tech of using the Winter Nexus filaments to get back to HiSec quite safely, and I think that was one of the guys commented on the videos and said, "Oh yeah, you can use the Nexus filaments." I was like, "What? I can use the filaments? What?
Yes,
This is so amazing! This is amazing!"
yeah. First time when I lost the shuttle, I went like just back and forth like an idiot, and then after just the morning catalyst dropped, like I wanted to be one of the first guys like in Galente region to have the Pioneer, start to throw pioneers on the market and invent outriders before everyone was doing it. So I was like, "Yep, I'll stuck on filaments this time. No way I'm, no way I'm
Yep,
doing that again."
yep. But
And
no,
back then, that 5 billion was pretty much everything I had, except for like my mining ships
oh,
and stuff. Like it was pretty much like half of my assets and most of my liquid disk back then.
oh no, that's the worst. Did any
Well,
drop?
that's the beauty of Eve, also. You know what I mean? Like, when I started playing Ultima Online when I was, way younger, and then I used to play on, free servers, whatever, like those free shards. And that's the same thing. Like, if you get PK'd, you just lose everything. Like, that guy's going to loot you and goodbye. So I've always, even though I don't really enjoy PvP so far, and even like, it's still something that's, such a big part of the game. Like, the sense of actual loss.
Oh yeah, no. I think there's very few games that came out at the same time as Eve that had that perspective of you die, whether it be from a player or for an NPC, and everything you had on you, that's gone. And it
Yep.
was interesting because you look at World of Warcraft now, and you look at old school RuneScape now. There's been a resurgence of like this hardcore type of gameplay. Because what
Yeah.
is it? The in World of Warcraft, they've got those permadeath worlds where like
Yeah,
you
those
die and
hardcore,
that's yeah. And it's like it's so funny as well because you're looking at that and thinking, like, what? Eve has had this for so long. It's like we've been losing, we've been losing our shit all the time. It's like, oh yeah, you're flying a nice fancy ship. Ah, not anymore. It's gone. Everything that you had on it, it's gone.
Yep. One of my friends, worked months towards having his first work wall. I don't
Oh
think he flew
no.
it for more than 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I swear, like it's been less than 5 minutes for him. So
Oh, they
that's what I love about Eve. Because otherwise, how would we have like that amazing economy if destruction didn't matter, right?
Oh no, 100%. It's one of the coolest things about Eve is that you can turn around and you can say everything in this game, everything in this game has either been constructed by a player or it has been looted by a player. And it's like,
Yep.
what other game can you turn around and say like, oh yeah, nothing else, nothing that you've got here can be bought from a store. The item that you need, for example, in Warcraft, let's say you can go and buy it from a store, right? You can
Yep.
use the marketplace. You can get it from other players. There are items that you can craft in the different professions that can be used. But let's be
Yeah,
honest,
but
when it
that
comes to World of
crafting is
Warcraft,
so limited. That has nothing to do with like the industry side of Eve, for example. Like,
exactly,
yes, you do
ex-
have professions and other MMOs, but they're not useful. New expansion comes out, you max it in like fucking an hour and a half, and then you're like, well, that's useless
yeah,
now.
that's me. Right, time to go grind bosses again so I can get some of those mythic drops. It's
Exactly.
Yeah, but in Eve, it's like okay, so right, so I need a. If you were to play without any other player interactions, you've got to like sit there and think, right. So let's say I want a caracal, but if I get a caracal, right, I need to get 70 million ISK to get the actual blueprint. Right now, I've got the blueprint. Okay, I'm gonna need to get the minerals to actually mine it. Right, let's go mine the minerals. Okay, I've got the minerals now. Now I can actually construct it. Right, I've got the caracal. Oh, I don't have the fittings for it. Right, okay, I need to go get the blueprints for it. Okay, rapid light missiles. Yeah, let's go for this. Blah blah blah. And it's like step by step by step. And even if you're not playing it in the same Ironman rule set that I am, everything that you're going to buy from the market it's from another player. It's been created. It's went through the steps of manufacturing or being looted off of an NPC. That's the
Yep.
coolest thing about it because it's one of the few games that you can just turn around and say there is a full player driven market here. Every item that you get that has been at some stage made or created by a player, and it's
Exactly.
just
Like most people make fun of like, like miners like me, but seriously, you'd be in your pod and you wouldn't have a ship if there was no mining.
oh no, I guarantee you because I do remember like because I've played since 2010, I've seen the price change of certain things.
Yeah.
And I do remember, like for example, a my first cruiser was an Osprey, right? And I think I paid 1 million, 1.2 million, which
Hmm.
doesn't sound like much. Like 1.2 million, that's about the same price as the destroyer nowadays. But because everything was being mined, ore was technically worth a lot more. So there wasn't a lot of ISK faucets, and there was a lot of ISK sinks because people were losing ships and whatnot. And
Yeah.
I've spoken to some like proper old veterans, and I mean guys from like 2003, 2004, 2005 when they were first starting in the game. And from what I remember them saying, like battleships, oh my god, battleships were amazing. It's like if you were in a battleship, you were a king. There was no other way to describe it. It's a case of there were back in 2003, 2004, 2005, they didn't have battle cruisers, so it was just a step from a frigate, destroyer, a cruiser, and then a battleship. There wasn't really a battle cruiser in between. And there was tons of guys saying like, "Oh yeah, a battleship can easily solo 5 cruisers. It's got a monster tank. It does, this is like, it's insane to think as well that once again, a ship like a battleship. You look at the mineral costs now, and you think they had to do that back then with mining cruisers and mining barges that did not have dedicated ore bays. It was a case of
Yep.
the mining barges had something like 1,200 meters cubed, and it was just what? It's like jet
Yeah.
can jet jet can mining was the best mining that you could do, and then people would fly around and steal your ore anyway. So it's
Well, of course it's Eve,
like what the
right?
fuck do you do? What the fuck do you do? Like, and it's another thing of mining barges and exhumers were like they had less tank than a destroyer. They were so weak. But no, it's honestly, I think Eve is a fantastic game because it has an avenue of you to choose how you want to play. And this is one of the things that's difficult to try and get people to enjoy the game and actually get interested in the game. Because let's be honest, when you play World of Warcraft or you play any other MMO, there's like a story to it. Even RuneScape has these quests that shape the world that you can do that will tell you the story of Gillinor and tell you all the different like lore tidbits and whatnot. But when it comes to Eve, it's a game that is such a sandbox in the idea where you're not really handheld throughout a story or main lore. You've got to sit and dig and read the old what's it called, lore stuff that they have. What's that called? That is called the. There was a certain website that has all the archived Eve lore. The name escapes me, but that's the thing about Eve is that it is just you've got to make your own journey. You've got to decide what you want to do, and that's the hard part. That's the difficult part. Most people would just want to play in, bumble along, and be like, "Okay, this game's hard. I don't want to play this game anymore," and then they drop it.
Yeah, because most MMO players are used to be handheld. What I mean by that is, you play World of Warcraft. Yes, it's an open world, but it's very linear, anyways. Like,
Yeah,
no matter what you want to do, if you want to do PvP or raiding or whatever, like, it gives you the feeling of an open world, and you can quote unquote do whatever you want, but not really. Like Eve, when I started, of course I skipped tutorial. I arrived in the airspace and I was like, well, what now? How do I move my ship? How do I leave this place? Where do I
exactly.
what do I do?
The thing with
So
Eve as well is like, especially with the new player experience, is that is a lot of it's like you've just got to. I want to play the game. I don't want to sit and have to read how to play the game. It's like opening up a manual before you take flight.
yep.
And I love how your first experience was closing the tutorial because my first ever experience in Eve was literally starting the game in my character. Wow, this is so cool. Wow, look at that asteroid station over there. This is amazing. And using my mouse to like turn the camera and everything. Oh, a tutorial. No, I know how to play games. I'm going to turn that off. And then I sat there for like an hour trying to figure out how to actually move the ship, how to do anything. I It was so funny because it was like I don't know how to turn the tutorial back on. There's a chat channel. I'll ask the guys in local, help, how do I move my ship? I've tried WASD. WASD doesn't work. And no one replied. So I'm like trying to sit here and think, like,
So I like
what the
double
fuck?
click stuff.
Like, what do I do? I don't. Oh, I never should have turned that tutorial off. Oh, this was such a mistake. And I finally found that I could open up the help menu with F12. Because it was just a case of like, all right, fuck it, spam buttons, see if I can find anything. Oh, there we go. I've got a tutorial on you. Nah, fantastic. Right. I'm gonna read this. I'm not gonna do the same mistake. And the other thing with Eve as well is that if you look at like World of Warcraft, everyone knows World of Warcraft. Thank you, South Park. Thank you. But in World of Warcraft, you do follow a quest line that takes you to new regions. It is an open world, but every quest that you follow takes you to a new region, new areas to do quests, new fetch quests, and it takes you and you eventually unlock the majority of the map. And there's nothing stopping you for just not following the main quest line and just doing what you want. But when it comes to World of Warcraft, if you want to do any type of the mostly end game content, you got to get up to max level, don't you?
Exactly.
You kind of have to sit down and you need to do the whole main quest line. Now we do some grinding. Now we do this. Right, I've reached level 50. I've got the expansions. I can get up to level 60, and just it's like there's so much that you need to do to get to that point, and then you can start playing the game. And people will argue that Eve has the same thing. People will argue that you will say, "Oh, you need to get the Magic 14. You need to get these skills. You need to get that. Once you get these skills, you can now fly this ship, and you can't do that." But in reality, with Eve, you can just go and do it. There's nothing stopping you from being fresh account, getting a frigate, and then doing some content as well. One of my favorite guys was Eve is Easy, and his fleet warfare videos are showing how a new player can just get it started in a T1 ship, go and do factional warfare, and just get into PvP, even as a new player. And it
Yep.
will be tough. It will be difficult because let's be honest. I won't sugarcoat it. There will be players who've got better gear than you. There will be players who have better skills than you, and they will have the advantages. But that's when you start realizing that, okay, I'll need to start thinking differently. So the guys that I've been fighting have been mostly brawlers. So if I get a kitey ship and I can actually outrange them and scram kite, then I can actually deal with players that are more have more skill points than me, but also have better fit ships than me. But because I am now leveling the playing field by getting as much of an advantageous fight as possible, you can still do stuff as a new player in that case. But once again, this all comes down to why I love Eve so much because it's so complicated compared to like any
Oh, it
other
is.
game.
It is.
There's so many different little systems. And I get it. I understand it. A lot of people will turn around and say, "Oh God, this is so overwhelming." Like, wait, yeah, I need to know about transversal. I need to know about angular velocity. I need to know about explosive velocity. I need to know about explosive radiuses and stuff. I need to know about sensor signature radius to see if something is a bigger signature radius will do more or less. Just there's so much, and I love it, but
Yeah.
it can confuse people a lot. I feel like CCP's done a really good job when it comes to actually teaching people and helping new players understand this stuff. Because I remember, I think it was a few years back, they started making these little short videos that explain to you stuff like transversal velocity, started explaining to you like tracking speed, started explaining stuff like target, what's it called? Cigarette explosion radiuses and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I feel like in warp scrambling and whatnot, I can't find these videos. I think they put them up on Facebook, so it's I don't know where they fully are, but they do understand that it's a complex game and that it takes a while for it to click. And it is difficult. I honestly believe that there's a few things that CCP should do to Eve to make it similar to like a regular MMO at the beginning. So that, for example, you can your first month in Eve, let's say, you play along similar to like a regular MMO, and then after that, you're like open up to the whole world, the big bad world. And I really like the new player area that they've designed as well.
Yeah,
That
'cause,
there's
they
a
seem to be
start.
heading that direction, like they
Yeah,
well, I guess, well, FC, quote, unquote, well, let's call them CCP because I refuse to call them FC. But anyway, so I think they figured that, yes, of course, we have a ton of bitter vets now, but we need new blood, and we do actually.
yeah, we
So,
do. There's
some
always
people don't like the new, Hello Kitty Island, but no,
no.
I love the idea, actually.
I think it's wonderful. I honestly, I would like to further expand onto it. If I had the opportunity to do so, my like suggestion would be to do something similar to like regular MMOs in that new player area, where you've got a certain like mission path that you would follow, whether it be like a small like lore exposition type of thing, whether it be something like this is the Caldari state, these are our values, and you go through and you get a little bit of a tidbit of the lore, or for example the Amarian or the Mimbitar or the Galentian, and you have like a certain set of missions that you'll do that talk about the lore, and it's all fancy. But what I would like to see is that you will also get a whole mission line that rewards you SP in certain skills. So everyone raves about how the Magic 14, you've got to get the Magic 14 before you do anything in Eve. Well, why not make it so that the players that do start in Eve have a progression path that they can follow, that after they complete certain bits similar to like an epic arc, one of the rewards that they get is you've now gotten this SP and this important Magic 14 skill. So
Right.
you've just done the first portion of that thing. Congratulations, you've now gotten power upgrades at level 5. And
Yeah.
you and people will turn around and say, "Oh, what about skill extractors? What about people abusing it by making lots of alpha accounts doing that thing?"
Lock
And
them.
then
Lock
it's like,
them.
no, it's easy. You just lock the skill. Easy.
Exactly, those
The
skills are not extractable.
Exactly, and
That's
then
it.
that's it. You've got a new player experience that someone who's familiar with MMOs can follow the track and be like, right, okay, so now that I've gotten this mission completed, I get bang this skill points that get applied to the skill now is at level 5. That's one of my Magic 14. That's fantastic, and I can continue the round, and you can get a feel for the game. And I think and the thing is, they are making that area as well a place to get a feel for the game, and then they have that catapult that throws you into the rest of the game. It's just like a tutorial island that you would have in old school RuneScape, but you can actually get an experience of the game. I think it's wonderful, and I really hope they go through with that. That's my idea. That's my big hopium that they decide to do that
Yeah,
because
but the thing is, like, for CCP, it's always like, yes, our ideas are good, but they have to make sure because everyone's gonna find a way to, like, gamify something. They opened Exordium a few days ago. It took like not even a half an hour, and someone actually died in Exordium. You know what I mean?
oh
Like
yeah,
someone found the loophole. So
yeah,
yeah,
I think that was the corporation. What's it called?
a friendly fire thing. Yeah,
Friendly fire thing. Yeah, which is
but still, like,
I can
someone still found a way to kill someone over there, and they were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oops."
I can see that. I can see that as like an easy thing to overlook, because it's. I feel like a lot of the stuff that CCP adds, they then forget about it, and they still think it's like Eve from
Mostly,
2010.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, yeah, this is the same stuff from 2010. It's like, I'll be fine. Friendly firing corpse. Yeah, we'll put that in. We'll put it as a toggle. Oh god, someone just died in the new player area.
But yeah, CCP
Oh
tends to like, introduce systems and then everyone kind of forgets about them, sort of like half
yes,
cooked, Just like,
yes,
I haven't played for long, but those home front operations.
yes. Poor
No
home
one
front
knows what
operation.
they are. No one really does them anymore, but
No,
it's
no. The reason no one does them anymore is because they know them. I spoke to some of the other guys in the Ironman community, and they said home fronts were like their bread and butter because home fronts they could actually work with other Ironmen and they could actually get the ISK rewards from them. But most importantly, some of the LP rewards allowed you to get a venture. So it's a case of like, oh well, it doesn't matter if you lose a venture, and it doesn't matter whether or not you have a blueprint for it. You just do some home fronts, you get some LP, and then you can buy a venture from it. Then they removed that from the actual LP store. So now it's just home fronts are unfortunately just a relegated content that's been put to the sideline that really doesn't matter anymore.
exactly. And I guess like in a few expansions, they're gonna do like that whole overhaul of that thing everyone forgot about.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. It's going to be the
You know they
exact
will.
same like storyline missions, and it's going to be the exact same as Cosmos Agents. It's going to be left untouched since 2006, and no one's going to be able to like fix it because it's buggy old code that someone has coded in a different language and they can never touch it. So no, I really wish they fixed storyline and Cosmos Agents. I genuinely, I wish. The certain modules that you get from those are just amazing. It's T1 skills, but with T2 performance. It's just the
Right.
perfect new player module. It's like the perfect module for a new player. But unfortunately, old content, and I feel like a quick, easy band aid fix on them would be to make them have the similar rule set to the Epic Arcs. Because before, Epic Arcs were a one and done. But then they made
Yeah.
it so that Epic Arcs were, I think it's a 6 month
I think
cooldown
it's
on them.
3 months. I've read
3
the other
months.
day on EVEAlone. I think it's three.
I think it's 3 months. Yeah. All right. Okay. But if they did something similar to the Cosmos Agents, oh, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic. Because then you will have more storyline modules. So then their price goes down. And because the price goes down, then more players can actually have access to them. Because the issue that the storyline modules have is that they are used for super tight fits and extremely niche cases. And that's why they're expensive. And of course, there's also the people who are farming them daily and making it so that it's impossible for anyone to actually access the
Yeah.
Cosmos missions and do them. And like honestly, there's a lot of sweeping changes that they can go into that will literally be a change in the case of, for example, there's one Cosmos mission where you need to destroy a structure, and that structure then drops a certain item that you can hand into the agent. That only respawns once. It respawns at downtime. That's it. So you've got to be the first one to get there. It's one item per day.
Oh,
Yeah, and the issue is that back then, right, this was fine because you would talk to the agent in space and it would generate that mission location. So you would then fly out, and similar to how you would get a mission nowadays with a regular, station agent. But
yeah.
now they've turned them into static locations. What happens is it's one static location and it's one drop per day. Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. So what do I do? Well, you then have to go on contracts and buy it off a guy for 300 million ISK.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you try and be the first, but it's probably camped to shit. You know what I mean?
It's so camped, turbo camped. And it's like, I know an easy fix for this CCP. Instead of turning it into a structure that you blow up, just turn it into a structure that you loot where the item just respawns every 30
Yep,
seconds.
can, right?
Done. Done. And it's like, oh well, we don't want to flood the market with the item. And it's like, well, yeah, that will happen, but it's better than having it being 300 million for a reward that only, for a mission reward that only maybe gives you 500,000 discs. It's like,
Right. So
the
speaking of
total.
missions and all of that, like you have like a set of rules for your challenge. What are they exactly?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let me see if I can get it up right now. Yeah, I need to go and start up Eve and have a quick looky here because I've got a chat channel with all the rules in it.
Right.
But the rule set is essentially that you're trying to avoid using anything that is traded by a player or made by a player. So you can't loot other players that you like. Say, for example, someone gets blown up, either by Concord or another player, and that player's loot is sitting in their wreck. You can't just go over and be like, "Yoink, that's mine." That's one of the rules as well.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm logging in right now, and I can tell you exactly what the rules are.
But you can loot, unfortunate players that you downed yourself, though.
Oh, of course, of
Yeah, yeah.
course. If someone dies by your hand, oh yeah, free game. It's yours. Which is funny because when I went to Eve Glasgow, one of the guys said, "It's like, oh, okay, so where are you based? What times do you play normally? Oh, is there a low sec nearby? Oh yeah, okay." Right. It's like, no, no, none of that. Don't be doing stupid setups where I find someone and then magically he drops all the items that I need. I don't want it. That just ruins the spirit.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does.
right.
Speaking of which, while you're pulling the rule, I have a good question for you. Do you think that since you have like quote unquote a public character, do you feel like it has painted a target on your back?
Oh yeah, 100%. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. Like in one of my episodes, I got a C type Dead Space what's it called, shield booster, and then I got an A type. I was like, fantastic. Do I want to use these? I do want to use these so much, but now it's basically like, okay, quick locate your agent. Tick, tick, tick. Yep, he's in this system. Let's go do a quick ship scan. Oh, an A type. Right, I'll have that. Thank you. So
Right.
I don't think it's going to be a major issue. Genuinely, it's Eve. At the end of the day, it's who I'm not
Yeah,
a
well, whether
master.
someone is actively hunting for you or just seeing you pass by and killing you anyways, that's it's the same result in the end.
Exactly,
But
exactly same result.
but
Like
still,
I've had it
like
before.
from my Rucks to Riches series, like I started a public corp, like that's the last big thing I did. And
Yeah,
I don't hide the fact that my character's name is Bill Compass. I don't hide the fact that I'm hanging out in Galente space. So
yeah,
I
no,
kind of
I
feel like
don't.
sometimes it paints a target on my back.
You know how it is. People love kicking sandcastles over in Eve. That's one of the great things about
Yep,
Eve as well, is
it
that
is.
you can be a bastard. If you want to be a bastard, you can be a bastard. So it's totally allowed, except for scamming in real life. None of that. None of that. But you can scam in Eve. It's like it opens an outlet for people who's like, oh yeah, this is bad. I'm not really supposed to be doing this, but I can do it in Eve.
Yeah, that's a
Like
Wild West for sure.
that's it. Rules are out of the question. I will be selling this ship for 1 million ISK. Actually, it was 1 billion. Whoops. Haha, no refund. Right, I have the rule set here if you'd
Yep.
like me to read that out. So, I'll condense these down a little bit quick. So, you are not allowed to buy from players. You can only buy from NPC orders. And one of the cool things is that you can find out whether something on the market is an NPC order. It's because it has more than 90 days remaining on its uptime.
Yep.
Any player interaction is always going to be 90 days or less. You cannot as a player put anything longer than 90 days. The other thing is, speaking of like players, you can't interact with other players. You can do PvP, because it's Eve.
Yeah.
PvP is a core staple of the game, but you can't use contracts, can't trade with players. You can't actually tether or dock in player-owned stations either. And
Oh,
speak, yeah, yeah, no, I kind of feel bad about putting that rule set in, but here we are,
so
because it
yeah,
limits
so you actually
limit.
can't compress any of your ores when you're
I
mining. There's no
I can't
compression allowed, right?
I can't compress ore. I can't what's it called? Do reactions. I can't do what's it called? Oh, what's the other thing I can do in a player-owned station as well? That's kind of locked behind it. Reactions is the big thing. Like reactions is the
Yeah.
upselling. Manufacturing on like with discounts. Can't do that either. And the other cool thing that citadels have is that if you're anchored on a citadel, like a free port, you get repaired. So your modules and your ship can get repaired, and you don't have to pay a repair cost. So that's
When you're
another
a
thing.
tether, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
and it sucks. As like another thing is I can't loot other players' wrecks. So for example, if I'm contesting a DD site and he destroys the NPC. I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to steal this. Can't do that because
because it's not your
you
kill. Yeah.
yeah, it's some people could say it's like, oh well, you were contesting the site and then you decided to be a bit cheeky and steal the loot. I'm like, yeah, I can see that, but then someone could turn around and say, well, that was an alt. You had an alt that was contesting the site with you to make the site easier, and then you stole the loot, right?
Right.
You know, it's silly things like that. Silly things like that. But I can salvage other players, right? 'Cause that's fine. It's like ninja salvaging is a core gameplay mechanic. Let's be honest.
It is.
The other thing is because it is like a solo player thing, you're only allowed one account, one character, one. You can't use alts. You can't just create a alt army and then get right. I've got 10,000 ventures now, so I'm perfectly happy to lose as many as I want.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing was the kill rights, and that's because there's a lot of kill right shenanigans that you can do. But it's a case of if you gank someone and you get a kill right, then you have to put it up to public. They set the public kill right to be other way around. If you get ganked and you get a kill right, you either use it or you set it up for public for zero risk so that anyone can do it. You can't just and if you get a kill right yourself, you can't just get an alt or a friend to claim it on you and blow you up so that the kill right goes away.
Right.
One this is uh one of the restrictions I put down in, which was making mountains out of molehills. That the mission line gets you the venture at 2 out of 10, and I decided that that would be the only mission that I'm allowed to do because I've tried mining in the rookie ship. Oh my god, it
The
sucks.
Corvette. Yeah.
Oh
You
god,
can.
it's you can. There's nothing stopping you. Like power to you. Power to the people who decide to mine their way in a Corvette to adventure. You know what? It's something that I couldn't do, but power to you. And I just decided, nah, I'm gonna do the mission. I'm gonna get the venture because I am not suffering for it. I've already tried mining in the Corvette. I had to do it when I had to mine Jasper for the Noxium. It wasn't pleasant. I'm not doing it again. No, thank you.
Yeah, and the nicer the rocks, the bigger they are, like,
Yeah.
M3 wise. So
Oh
yeah,
God.
that's I can't even imagine it.
No, no. I've already struggled with what's it called? The plagio case that we need for this
Yeah,
capsuleer day stuff is like, oh my god, I've got so much plagio case. I've mined it all in a pioneer and I feel horrible.
with your like 8K mineral hold. Yeah,
Oh god, I so wish I had even the faction variant that gave me 10k. That's an extra 2k. That's massive. It's huge. Oh, I
it's
wish.
enormous.
It's enormous. It's so like it's so funny because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it. Any other veteran would just look at me and just buy a mining barge. Just get a bloody mining barge. No, I need to do this. I need to suffer. And then the last rule, which was something that is quite a big one in the Ironman community, is no project discovery because it's easy-esque. It's so easy-esque.
It
You can
is. It
sit there,
is.
you can
You
sit
park
there.
your Pioneer, you mine your Pledge, and you make like, yeah,
Yeah, I can guarantee you, if I was doing a project, if I allowed myself to do project discovery, oh boy, it wouldn't have taken me that long to get the cruiser. It is so strong, and once again, that's just how it is. But I do say in the chat that this isn't really an official game mode, and it's not really the intended way to play Eve. Like genuinely,
it isn't.
everything in Eve is hard coded from the very fucking beginning to be interacting with other players, whether it be in corporations, whether it be interacting on the player market or interacting with
Fleets. Yeah,
fleets. The full game is designed to just be you and other players. And it's like playing solo is difficult. It's not impossible, right? But with these rule sets as well, it's like even harder. And it's just a case of yeah, I can just sit and I can make a new account. I can just follow the same things that I used to do before. Go do PvP, PvE. I can do my DD sites. I can then buy an upgrade of a ship and then go. But it's like the same old. Sometimes you just want to put a challenge to yourself and say, right, let's try this a different way. Let's find out old mechanics that people have probably forgotten about or don't really put much attention to, such as the trading mechanic in Eve. Like, do you know that there's trade goods that you can buy off of NPCs and sell to NPC stations?
Yeah.
And that is like peak 2003 2004 content that no one has touched in years. And yet to me, I was like, this is amazing. I'm making 5 million every time I sell 30,000 of this electronic parts. This is amazing. It's like, it's so stupid, but I love it. I love every single bit of it.
Yo, you're a bit of a masochist for sure.
Nah, I wouldn't call myself a masochist.
But you mentioned you're having a channel about your challenge. Like, you're saying there was a community before you started, but I was really never aware of it. Do you feel like you've inspired some people? Like, I've been looking, at your comment sections on YouTube and stuff. Like, do you feel like there's more people interested or even aware of Ironman challenges? Whatever the individual challenges.
Oh, 100%. a
Yeah.
100%. I've been seeing a lot of people commenting about trying out this type of challenge before, and I've also seen, more importantly, is a lot of people returning back to Eve as well. Some bitter vets that decided, to quit and then decide, you know what, this is interesting. I like the thing is, and I find it amazing. I do find it like quite proud of myself in the sense that I've gotten so far with how I have and how people have been enjoying the series so far, and it really isn't a Nintendo way to play, but it's a way to spice things up, and that's what I love the most about it.
Oh,
I'm sure quite,
definitely.
I'm sure quite some of the older players who did give up and left the game would be like, well, you know what, this is a newer way of trying it. Why don't we give it a try? And power to them. And it is tough. But to me, I enjoy it because every little thing, every tiny little thing that you do, it just feels huge. It just feels amazing. Something trivial is like unlocking a new ship that you could easily do in Eve by buying it off of a player. Instead, building it, getting the blueprint, making your own, and then seeing the cutscene when it's revealed, it's just dopamine. Boom. Really, really gets the neurons firing.
Yeah, it actually shows in your video. Like, that fucking, that sheer enthusiasm when we listen to your videos. Like, you go crazy when you find, like, some 10 million ISK module.
Oh, the
That,
fantastic! Oh,
on your main characters, you'd be like, yeah, boring. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, okay.
Like,
Drag
I
it into
feel like
cargo
those
hold.
challenges could be some form, some way to combat, like, what we call Eve burnout for some players, maybe.
100%. 100. Like I have playing the game for way too fucking long. Let's be honest. And like, at certain stages of the game, you feel like, oh man, I'm really gonna burn out at this point. To me, it's always a case of, if I'm about to reach that stage of burnout, I just say, right, fuck it, let's try something else. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go do this. Let's go do industry. Let's go do the exploration. And it's like, that's how I've kept playing the game for so long. Is that I've forced myself out of my comfort zone to try new things that the game has available to you,
Yeah.
because that way things stay fresh, things stay interesting. Because I can guarantee you, if I didn't do that, I could just be, oh well, I could be in a null sec corp, paying rent, and just sitting doing PVE all day, and it's like that will instantly, like, 2-3 days in, and you'll be like, damn, that's it. Why am I even playing?
Yeah,
I
go
don't
fucking
enjoy it.
AFK and spin Ishtars and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's just how it is. But with this game mode, it's a case of allowing me to, like, I've said this many times. It allows me to, like, reconnect to, like, the childhood, like, joys that I had playing this game for the first time. Because I think I was only 13, 14 at the time when I played this game. So, to me, it's like, wow, this is so cool. This is so interesting. Everything's so amazing. And it just breaks down to the fact that there's no real other game like you. There really isn't. I have yet to find a game that gives me as much joy that Eve does.
Oh, you won't find it, I guess. Like,
It's
a few years ago, we had some hopes with Albion Online. Like, they kind of
Yeah,
wanted to be like some kind of medieval Eve, but I've tried it. I've actually subbed for a few months. Like, before I started playing Eve, and I was like, yeah, nah, that's nope, nope.
yeah.
They
There's just
wanted to, but no one can
there's
or seems to.
something about Eve. It's like you never really stop playing Eve. You just go on a long hiatus. You
Yep.
always always find a way back into Eve, and I feel that's it's true. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, I've won at Eve. That's it. I'm never playing the game again." And then about 2 years later, they're like, "Oh, you know what? Let's try that Eve game again, shall we?"
Oh yeah, like one of my one YouTube creator I really liked when I started getting interested in Eve and stuff, and he's actually a fellow French Canadian. So yesterday he announced that he's dropping the series and he's taking like he's quitting Eve. But I'm sure we'll
Yep.
see him like in a year or
Oh
two.
no, no.
You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah,
I'm talking about gaming since the '70s.
yeah.
So yeah,
Because
but we'll see Tenak again.
oh,
I'm pretty sure
100%.
actually.
100%. It's just once again, it's always just the same thing that happens. Is just fatigue with Eve.
Yep.
You find something that you like and you stick to it. There's nothing wrong with it, but the problem is that you stay and you do nothing but that. And then it gets to a point where, like, well, I've just spent 3 months ratting, or I've spent 3 months doing industry, or I've spent 3 months doing mining, and it's like, why do I log in every day just to do the same thing? And it's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, it's the people. It's like at first I kind of treated it like somehow like a semi solo game, but now it's the people that keep me logging in. Like the last episode of the podcast I did with the guys from the New Eden Network. Well, if these guys wouldn't been there, like I probably would have burned out when I came back from high sec from my short trip in nullsec like a few months ago. It's mostly the people. Like I don't vary my activities much, but it evolves, right?
Oh no, it's one of the things that is like proper ingrained in Eve with like the community and working together with others. It's I feel like a lot of veteran players turn around and say, "Yep, just when you start up Eve, join a corp." And it's like, yeah, you are pointing them in the right direction, but most of the time that's not really helpful. It's saying to them to just play the game, join a corp, and things will work out. It's like, no, you kind of need to guide them along and find out what niche they like, what stuff that they would
Yeah,
enjoy, and then
because you
from
can
there,
join a shit corp and burn yourself in a week.
oh, 100%, oh, 100%. You could join a corp of people who just don't talk, don't do anything, don't work together, and then you're like, huh, okay, well, this is kind of lame and boring. Okay, oh well, I'm just gonna drop this game. Not too invested in it, and then that's it. And
Yeah, I'll go
it's
back to raiding on WoW. Like
yeah, it's like, or I'll go play the next big thing, which is like the next
yeah,
big AAA game thing, or the next big hit that happens. It's like there's a reason why a lot of what's it called games recently. Have you heard the term friendship slop or
nope,
friend
I
slop?
haven't actually.
So have you heard of the games like RV there yet, or Lethal Company is a good one.
Actually, haven't.
So these are small indie games that are basically just you play around and mess around with your friends. And the reason why they're so popular is because you just get a group of three other people and you just sit around and do one objective. And that's where the fun is. The fun of the chaos and the messing about with people that you enjoy spending time with. And Eve is similar in that sense where the
On a
whole
much
game
larger scale.
on a huge scale. It's like you meet some of the most amazing people in Eve, and they really do become like an extended family in that sense. Where you're like, for me, like I was young at the time, I was very impressionable, but it was so cool that I was speaking to people not just in the UK, speaking to people in the States, speaking to people in Europe, and speaking to people all around the world. And each person had come from a different walk of life, and each person was, different skills, different experiences in life, and I said this in my first video. I remember what's it called? The most influential person to me was a guy named Waldo Manhunt. That's his name in the game, and he was like this 80 plus year old Vietnam veteran, and it was just fantastic. I've never had a grandfather in my life. I felt like Waldo was my grandfather. I
He
felt
was
like I
it.
was
Yeah.
he was my Eve grandfather, which sounds funny. It sounds stupid, but genuinely, like when it comes to enjoying yourself in Eve, it is all about other players and playing with other people.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I care at least as much about like the people and like that thing, the New Eden Network. I care for them. Pretty much at least as much as my colleagues in real life or even some of my friends. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And it's just you get a special bond with people in Eve, and
Yep.
it's just a thing with all type of what's it called, MMOs. You get it in WoW, you get it in RuneScape, you get like guilds, you get clans and whatnot. But I feel like with Eve, that's like brought up to 11. You know,
Yeah.
because everything is like designed to work together. You know, like granted, you can make your own cruiser solo. You can even make your own battle cruiser solo. But then when you start getting up to battleships and you start looking at like the material costs of them and the blueprint costs, and you start thinking this isn't going to be possible without expanding further. And the this is one of the cool thing and one of the issues with Eve is that it is a bit of a numbers game. Whether it's industry, whether it's PvP, whether it's PvE, it's always an N+1 type of a game. You know,
Yep.
you're always better having another person there. And what's easier, finding someone that you can play with, that you can match your schedules with, or making a note? Mm, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of the gripes that I have in Eve that I don't want to say it, but you kind of need to have alts. You know, it
You
sucks.
you gotta do, yeah. Well, it depends on your play style, but yes, I at some unless you have a very niche like play style, like if you just do Abyss, for example. But otherwise,
Yeah,
yeah, like me, I'm mostly an industrialist. But when I say industry, just like the video I posted earlier today, like, I don't see industry as just what's in the industry window. I see industry from like fucking asteroid to market. Like I
yes.
consider PI to be industry. I consider salvaging to be a form of industry,
Oh yeah,
actually. Like the whole pipeline. And when you zoom out and you look at the whole pipeline, you're like, okay, I need like 13 alts, or I need to find a serious group to work with.
yeah. And it's difficult because I used to be part of Fatal Ascension, and the corp that I was part in was the major like industry players on. And no, honestly, see when you get to that level of coordination with other players, and you can get to like proper big mining fleets, spreadsheets, the full lot, and then you just realize these guys, they're one corporation, and they have been doing nothing but creating the entire capital wing for the whole alliance. And it's like you see it, you do understand that this game is so much meant to be played with other players, but a lot of people when they join an MMO, they start off solo, and it's really difficult for them to understand that this game is something that requires you to have interactions with other people and working together for a goal.
The thing is, when you start Eve, you're not even sure what you want to, unless you've watched like a month of YouTube about Eve before starting your character. Otherwise, when you land and you try to move your ship and you panic, you don't know you want to be an industrialist. You don't know you want to be a null pro or whatever, or an
Oh yeah,
abyss
no.
runner. So I hope the new player experience is gonna. I wish the new player experience would give pointers to people, like, like if you want to be like this or that, well, that's gonna look like this. Like I hope they're gonna put up like some new arcs or mission, or to call it whatever you want, to guide people. Because yes, most YouTubers say you have to join a corp, and even they're not wrong. But don't
Yeah.
join a corp if you don't know what the fuck you want to do in the first place.
Oh, 100%. I hope that the new player area, they do expand on the new player experience, and what they do is they give you a taste of all the different stuff that you can do. Like if they
Hopefully.
can give you a taster of because one of the things that an idea that I had floated around with this like area that's supposed to be a safe zone type of thing. I was speaking to someone in my corp about it, and I said what they really need to do is to do like this similar to you remember when they had the PvP Abyss tournaments where you would have a filament that would take you to a 1v1 with a certain ship and certain limitations.
I remember, I remember that when I first started Eve, like a few years ago, but never really took part in it, or
I
never
feel
really
yeah,
checked it.
I feel that was wonderful. I feel it was a great idea. There, it did have its problems, it did have its issues, and a lot of people were complaining about it, saying, "Oh, this is just going to replace normal roaming, and people are not going to go out and do fights anymore. People are just going to do the abyss PvP." And it's like, "Yep, I get you." perfectly understand it. But it would be nice if they did something similar for the new player experience. But
Yeah.
instead, let's say, for example, instead of you having to lose a ship and then, because let's be honest, a lot of players, when they start off, as soon as they lose their ship and they realize all their hard work has gone up in smoke, that's really close to them just giving up. It's
Yep.
why a lot. It's why a lot of the Eve community, when they see a new player and or they blow up a new player who's exploring, they then throw them a wad of cash, and it's like welcome to Eve type of thing. And because veterans know that when a new player loses their ship, they kind of decide, maybe this isn't the game for me.
And we do need
So,
those new players.
oh, we do need those new players. So one of the ideas that I had floating about is in this new area that they've got, where they have quote unquote simulated fights. So you would go to these areas where you would effectively be given a simulated ship, and then you would fight another player, and it would be a set fitting with a set ship, and then that way it's all just about you go out and try PvP, and you can PvP with another player, and you don't really lose your ship at the end of it because you don't gain anything from it, but you don't lose anything, but you get the opportunity and the experience to actually PvP another player.
Yeah, see how that feels. Yeah, yeah, like an instance thing. Yeah.
Similar to like the PvP that we used to have with the Abyssals, where you make your own ship and you get thrown in, and it's a random other person that you have to PvP against. But in this new area thing, you can call it. I don't even know what you could call it. You could call it the Concord Capsuleer Training Simulator or something.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good idea.
But I don't know how CCP would be able to code it. I don't know how they'll be able to implement it. And I can already see people being upset about it. It's like, no, no, that's silly. That's stupid. You're not only creating an area where all the new players are all safe and fine and don't have to be worried about blowing up, but then you're letting them play around with stupid ships that they will never lose and never gain anything for it, so they can sit there eternally playing PvP and twiddling their thumbs.
Well, that's not the
You
goal. I
get
mean, they could make that as as some kind of a mission in an epic arc. Actually, like
exactly.
have some kind of a new bro epic arc to learn how to PvP.
That's it. Like honestly, they could even have it as a mission. You know how like you start in and it's like you've got to do this mission. So you've got to go and join a duel, like a sanctioned duel with another player. And whether you win or you lose, you then get weapon upgrades to level 5 or something like that. One of like the Magic 4 teams, like you do that, so it incentivizes a new player to try it, and whether they win or whether they lose, they can then get that thrill of PvP. Because I still get the shakes. I still get the shakes every time I'm in a PvP situation.
Oh yeah,
It's like
for sure, for sure, for sure.
I've never got. It's like your heart rate goes up, the excitement builds up, and it's like no other game does that. No other game has the stakes so high where any false move you will lose a ship. Like I can tell you, a few months back, I lost a Kikimora. I was
Oh,
doing PVE. I know, no, it's you're gonna love this. You are absolutely gonna love this. I was doing PVE, a few jumps out of Jita. Should not have done it. I landed at a cosmic signature, and there were 7 sorcerers there. I was like, I'm gonna die now, aren't I? You know what I did? I accidentally pressed the wrong button. I thought I turned my assault damage control on. No, I turned my armor repper on. I would have lived. I would have lived, but I got the shakes. I got the shakes. I was in that mindset. I was like, okay, assault damage control. Right, it's on. Why am I still dying? This is not good. I pressed the wrong button.
wow.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't a cheap ship. It was a blingy boy. Blingy boy. But yeah,
Yeah.
here I am still playing. Maybe what was it, 2 billion lost, and it's still funny. Still enjoying the game.
Well, of course. Well, it's part of it. It's not like it's you play if you know you're gonna lose stuff all over your Eve career like that. That's something that's it's life actually.
It is, but the issue is that a lot of people don't get that when they start Eve. They a lot like what's the rule that everyone says? Do not fly anything you can't afford to replace. Now
Exactly.
that's the rule that everyone always says. Make sure that whatever ship you undock, if you were to lose it, that you're not back to zero, and then you'll frustrate yourself. And I had to learn that lesson as well as a kid. As it was difficult, but it does change the way that you see life as well. For example, I remember one time I had worked really hard and I got myself a Raven. I upgraded from the Drake for doing level fours, and I
Right.
said, right, let's get a Raven for level fours. I then had a disconnect. That was not good.
Oh no. Oh no. No.
Oh no! Oh no! I came back and I was in Hull, but I was fine. But then it was like that was a very important lesson. It's like maybe I shouldn't be flying this Raven because if I do lose it, I can't buy another one. I can't even buy a Drake. I wouldn't have be able to return back to where I was before. And it's a difficult lesson to learn. And the thing is, it's like that's the problem with Eve. It is a lovely game, but it's unforgiving. You make a mistake like that, and it's gone.
Yep. It's gone. That's it. That's the
It's
beauty of it, though.
beautiful game. Honestly, there's so much entwined in Eve that just once again, I'm gonna say it again. I have not experienced a game similar to Eve, or even coming close to Eve. I've been searching, I've been looking, I've been seeing some great contenders, but I still come back to Eve.
Yeah.
At the end, at the
You
end
know,
of
I
the, at the end,
I think the closest would be like, Ultima Online free shards, not for the economy, but for the risk and sense of loss.
yes.
Maybe.
The thing is, for me, is I love my ships. I love my spaceships in
Yep.
particular. To the point where my friends will joke about it's like, it's a game he won't want to play because it doesn't have one of three things. It doesn't have space, it doesn't have spaceships, or it doesn't have ships. So he's not gonna play it. It's like, okay, right, I see.
You're
Okay,
right.
yeah, you're right. You are right.
And speaking of ships and everything, like, you're doing an Ironman challenge, but you set up like comprehensive rules and stuff. But what's the end goal?
so I've
Did you set like a completion cap? Did you set
so
something
I
like that?
Initially, I'll be perfectly honest with you, when I started the series, I really didn't have a goal. It's because it was more of a thing of like, I woke up and said, no, you know what? I've been thinking about this idea for so long. I'm just going to do it. And I just jumped into it with no real idea, no long term goals, no long term plans. I just thought, let's just go for it. Let's see how far I get. If it's popular or not, doesn't matter. I'm going to have fun. It was
Right.
after I got the Vexor that I decided, right, okay, maybe I should actually think of a long-term plan and maybe do something about that so I'm not running around like a headless chicken. And I looked around some of my old screenshots and I found a screenshot of me doing a level 4 mission in my Drake back in 2011. And I thought, I need to recreate that.
Right.
That's my goal. I need to get a Drake. I need to get the exact fitting on that what's it called screenshot. Like it's horrible fitting, horrible fitting. But that's my goal. That's what we need to do, and I need to recreate that screenshot, and that would be that's like my goal with this account. I want to get up to that point where I can recreate that screenshot from 2011.
That's a nice goal for sure.
And the thing is, I think that's only the only that's only as far as I can get because as much as I would love to make a battleship, it would be so cool to make your own battleship from scratch, you know. But they've added in the life support backup units and the auto integrity seals, which
Oh,
are
you
reaction.
need PI for that.
No, it's not even PI. If it was PI, that
Oh
wouldn't
yeah,
be a problem.
yeah.
It's
PI is not a problem. I
reactions.
mean, you have reactions for the whatever the spiky
The
thing. I don't remember the
the
name. Yeah,
moon, the moon, the moon goo.
yeah.
You need a R4 moon goo, which is
Yeah,
not a
because then
problem.
you need
I can
like
get that.
the spiky thingy. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I can't make battleships, which also ties into navy ships. I can't make navy ships. Because all navy ships, from frigates to battleships, also use auto integrity seals and backup life support units.
And even abyssal ships, like you can't even build yourself a Damavik.
I wish. Oh my god, I wish. I wish. Because here's the thing with Vedmak. I looked at every cruiser. I sat down and I said, right, I need a cruiser that is going to be good for PvE, but also good for this ice mining thing that I need. And the Vedmak like ticked all the boxes. The Vedmak was going to be fantastic for PvE. The Vedmak was going to be also the best one for the mining drone tomfoolery. And I thought, right, okay, how hard is it to get to abyssals? Like, okay, I can do frigate abyssals. I just need 3 of the calm ones. I'll get 3 times the reward, and then maybe I'll get enough filaments to do the T1
Yeah.
and T2 stuff. And then I looked at the construction for the Vedmak, and I thought, okay, this isn't that hard. And then I saw it, and I thought
The
it
seals
needs
and the life
auto-integrity
support.
preservation seals and the life support backup. I thought the Vedmak would have been the absolute perfect ship for this, and I can't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the other contenders I had as well, I should have went for a Bellicus. Oh, because I went full missiles with the Corax, and then I had to jump to the Vexor, which was a drone ship, so I had to cross train into drones and railguns.
Yep.
When I could have just went with a Bellicus and used all my missiles, the skills that I already built up in the Corax. Yeah, it was like a bit silly of me, but well. That's just how it goes. It's
Oh,
just
it's
how
about
bigger
learning, right?
it is, and that's the thing. Like genuinely, anyone else could just turn around and be like, "This is silly. You want to go ice mining? That's fine. Go get a prospect. Not a prospector. What are they called? Go get an endurance. Easy peasy, right? Can't do that.
Well,
I can't build an endurance. I
okay.
can't make an endurance. It's like,
You're right.
oh,
Well, you can make a barge for sure.
nope. I can't make a barge because I need 1.4 million ISK. I need it for the blueprint.
Oh yeah, but eventually, making ISK whatever activity you do, it's kind of more of an exponential than a linear curve. Like you could get the billion for sure, but yeah,
But then,
that
then
would be
begs the
aggressive.
question.
But I mean,
What begs
you
the
could do it within your rule set. That's what I mean.
Yes. It's like, but the question that comes around is like, do I then spend that 1.4 billion on a procurer or a retriever or a coveter blueprint, or do I instead buy a battleship blueprint? Even if I could make the battleship, it's like a case of like I could spend that billion on a mining ship.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, I could get a battleship with that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. But then it comes back to the point of like 5.2 million tritanium alone in just the battleship. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, that would be quite the grind actually.
It would be
Well, it
quite the
wouldn't be if
grind.
you had a barge, but then the barge itself would be such a
Yeah,
grind. Then
there's so many steps. And the thing is, I even looked at it. Even if I did allow myself to use a player-owned refinery, right? I
yeah,
could. I even had a look. The reactions that I would need to actually the reaction formulas cost like 10 million ISK each. And
yep.
it's a case of like, so I will not only need to get all the money to get the reaction formulas, but then I'll need to try and move them to a low sec refinery and hope to God that refinery doesn't get blown up,
As
or
you always do.
even better, move all my stuff and then get locked from going into the actual refinery because the owners of the things decided it's no longer a free port. It's like so much stuff that you need to worry about.
Yep. That's very
It's
true.
it's silly, but I love it. I love every single bit of it.
Yeah, well, it shows actually that I started watching. I think I found your videos. And you just had like episode 1, like it was super fresh. I was like, holy shit! This guy seems to have so much fun playing that game. And like on YouTube, you always, or even worse on the Reddit, all you read about is the bitter vets, saying like, "Oh, Eve is dead, Eve is dying, Eve sucks, CP sucks, whatever." It was so refreshing to find someone like you who's actually passionate about what they do.
Oh god, you just reminded me of that meme where someone, what's it called? I just saw it on Reddit recently about the goons. It's like this little kid, he's playing with something, and then there's the guy behind him. Is like, "Stop having fun! I'm gonna kill you." Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No,
I'll find it for you, but it's just so funny. But no, I as much as it sounds like I'm putting on an act, like this is one of the things I'm really conscious about. It's like, oh, people are going to be listening to me, overreacting in the video and thinking, oh man, he's just
no,
putting on an act. He's just like,
no, it doesn't sound like that. It's so genuine. And I mean, like people are like, you can't be that happy to have a fucking Vexor. Yes, if you set yourself in such a rule set that's so punishing, even something as trivial as a as a vexer is a big achievement.
Oh, it's just because the way I see it is once I get that Vexor and I look at it and I thought, this is huge because this does just open up so much for me. It 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 sounds silly. It does sound silly. It's just a Vexor. It's just a T1 cruiser. But that is the potential. It's the potential to do more, to go further. Like I've in my latest episode, I've been doing level 3 missions in a Vexor. You're not supposed to do level 3 missions in a cruiser, but I'm doing them because this is like I can. And
Yeah, that's what you have.
it's I've just got to make do with what I've got, and it's a case of like, well, these are currently my best like is generating the mission that I have level threes, so I'm gonna do it. Technically, I could do uh, Abyssal's content with it now, which yeah, I can, but then
Actually, could.
I could, but the issue is I've got the wrong ship for it. And the same thing as well. I want to go back to wormholes. I want to do class 1 wormholes and I want to do the sleeper sites. I've got the wrong ship for it. Because what do the abyssal enemies and what do the sleeper enemies have in common that they really love doing? Targeting your drones.
Right.
And I've only got tier 1 drones. If I had faction drones, I might have stand a better chance, but I've only got tier 1 drones. So, you know, they look at them
You would
funny.
have to start like a like even if you wanted to do T0 abyssals and you wanted to start a grind and get a catalyst and fit it, even that like you know I go to market, I buy it all, and that's it. But for you, it'd be weeks.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a case of like, right, okay, I need to get the correct ship. So I need to get the ISK for it. Right. Let's say, for example, I wanted to get a thorax. Okay, so I need to go get a thorax blueprint. I need to go to Galente's space, get the thorax blueprint, then take it back to my main manufacturing area, hope I don't get blown up on the way back, and then from there I can manufacture a thorax. Great, I got a thorax. Right, I need to get blasters for this thorax. Okay, let's go get the blaster blueprint. Right, I got the blaster blueprint. I can now manufacture them. Oh, now I need to get the armor fittings. I need to get the armor blueprints, and it's just a step by step by step by step process. Is it
Yeah,
tedious? Yes. People could say it's like, oh, you're doing a lot of work just for fitting out a ship, but the progress, the step by
yeah, it's
step,
work you can be
the going
proud
through,
of.
it's exactly it. It's so much more fun than just easily going onto the market and being like, let's buy a thorax. Okay, let's buy all the metaphor stuff. Yep, we're gonna buy the most, the most efficient ones. Let's go for that. Okay, most efficient armor fittings. Blah blah blah. Oh, put the rigs on as well. That's it. Job done. But in this one, it's like, right, I'm currently flying my Vexor with shield rigs because I can't make the armor rigs because I don't have enough salvage for the armor rigs. So just, it's
You
like,
just need to
oh,
kill more stuff in order. Yeah,
like, oh, I don't have the right stuff. Fuck it, just put on shield rigs. I'm sure that'll be fine.
but what I mean is, every decision you need to think it through
Yep, and
like crazy.
that's where
You
the
can
real
I
interesting
decide
part.
to buy this or that ship for Abyss. Well, if it doesn't work, I just sell it back on the market. Take maybe a small loss, but that's the only consequence.
But with this, you mess up, well, you're stuck with it then, buddy.
Yeah,
That's what you got. That's it. You bought a cruiser and you're not happy with it. Well, why'd you buy that cruiser? I should have thought a bit better. Oh well, time for you to go and grind up the IS to get the right cruiser that you want. And in a way, it does remind me of when I was playing as a kid. I just really didn't know anything because I don't know. It was a lot of fun grinding up the ISK and stuff, getting the my first ever cruiser and everything. And I know for a fact I can't handicap myself like that anymore. I can't just go back to that childhood innocence of just like starting the game afresh and never not knowing how to play and not knowing any of the mechanics and just playing and enjoying it. But if I put these restrictions on myself, I can experience something similar, but also force myself to do mechanics that I possibly haven't even like done in a while or stuff that I've never knew existed and realized, huh, I could do that.
right.
Once again, it is just a case of my big cope is that I'm just trying to find a way to not burn out on Eve.
And what would you say, like, you have your normal stuff, like your real alts and stuff. Like, What's the proportion of your game time, for example, between like your the
Oh,
real
so
stuff you have and that challenge?
right. When it comes to that, it is full on the EVEAlone account. I'm fully invested in the EVEAlone account. I've my main and my alts. I've just been sitting gathering skills, and I would just log them in and grab the event rewards, and then that's it. I've been full on this account, and it's unfortunately it's because I don't really have that much time right now. Just gotten a new job, and it has been brutal. In the past, I was shift work, so I would do 5 days of work and 3 days I would get off, which was fantastic because that gives me plenty of time to actually play Eve and keep up with my hobbies and whatnot, and keep up with my partner and everything. But now I'm doing a regular Monday to Friday, and I hate every single bit of it. Oh God, I wish I was back on shift work.
Yeah.
It's like it's weird because see, as a kid, it was constantly you finish school, walk home, you get on the laptop, and you start playing Eve, and that was literally my entire like teenage years. It's sad when you think about it. It's pretty sad, really sad. I should have not done that, and instead I should have interacted with people that was more part of my age group and
Yeah.
interacted and developed that way. But in the inverse, I've interacted with people that were from different walks of life, and
Oh, absolutely.
I kind of matured a little bit earlier. So you know, you get your bonuses, you get your negatives.
Well, that's everything's like that actually. So
But no, it's currently I'm full on when it comes to the actual account. Focusing on it, doing as much as I can on it. But the issue is time is such a difficult thing now. It sucks, doesn't it? It's like when you're young, you got time, you don't have money. Now that you're
oh
older, you don't have
yeah.
time, but you have the money.
Oh, no,
So
being an adult sucks. That's definitely true.
it's like don't grow up, kids. It's a trap. Don't grow up.
Exactly. And so now, like at the time of recording, you have 11 episodes. Episode 12 is going to be out. Before the podcast episode is out. Do you, what are we to expect? Like five more episodes, 1,000 more episodes? Like, do you have a vague idea?
I genuinely have no idea, and
Right.
it's just a case of I do have. If I look at my files right now, have a quick looky. I've got. Oh god, yeah. I just had to scroll down. There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of footage that I've still gathered up. Um, I'm also constantly like actively recording as I edit the videos. I've got a backlog that I'm trying to catch up with. And it's once again, it's a case of I decided that there was a few days where I just said, nope, no plans, no one's to bother me. I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna play Eve for like 6 to 8 hours straight, and I'm just gonna get as much footage as I physically can, so that I had plenty of backlog to actually create videos that I can actually then share my progress with.
Yeah.
And the problem that I have is that it's not like I would have like maybe something like a 6 or 8 hour video, raw footage, and then I would have to try and condense it down to half an hour. And there will be stuff that I would want to keep, but there's also a nagging thought in my back of my mind is like, is this interesting? Would someone watch this and actually enjoy this? Because there's only so much that I can show of mining and missioning. And unfortunately, when it comes to this account, that is like 90% of the entire like just the
Yeah.
full thing of the account, because it is just a case of grind, and it's hard. It's really hard. I want to keep up my schedule of a video every fortnight because I want people to see the progress, and I want people to understand the difficulties and the problems that I get with it. But the issue is the case of just how much more can I just keep showing the same thing over and over? And it sucks. It really does suck. But once again, this is just the type of account that it is. It's a struggle. It's a slog, and it's going to be the same old, same old.
Yeah, but
But right,
right now I'm looking at your well, not your analytics because I don't have access to it, but I'm looking at your your about info on YouTube, and if you're wondering if the content you put out is interesting, you have 11 videos, you have almost 2K subscribers, you have like over 50,000 views. So let me tell you, yes, your audience is dedicated for sure.
oh no, 100%. And I do feel like I never expected that I would get this much people actually interested in it. Because let's be honest, when you start creating content, you are quite doubtful of yourself. You always think, oh well, am I going to be good? Will anyone
Oh,
even watch? It's like, oh, is it really worth it? Spending this time and effort onto it when some people might not not be interested. But that was one of the things that really kicked me into gear. It's a case of like, well, fuck it, I'll do it anyway because I'm going to do it for myself. I want to do this. I want to have fun. And if people will actually watch the video and decide that it's interesting, well, that's fantastic. Then I've got people who are enjoying what I do to have fun.
yep.
And that
Well,
was
well,
one.
my own channel, like I've had the idea for over a year. Like I have like old spreadsheets and some Google Drive I made just for that, and like I've had the idea for a year, but then I was like, well, my English sucks. I cannot do English content. I'm just get made fun of because well, it shows I'm not a native English speaker. So
Yeah,
and then I was listening to like the Oz and all those big creators. I'm like, no one's a native English speaker in that niche,
yeah,
so who gives a fuck, right? So
exactly.
that's why
And some
I decided, like, fuck it, just I'll pull the trigger and
and see
I'll
how it
get
goes.
that accent that I'm ashamed of, and I'll make it an asset.
It's just it's that kick. It's always that kick because
Yep.
I've been sitting on like the EVEAlone idea for like years, genuinely years, and I've always put it on the back burner because I would I would make like my own Excel spreadsheets and just sit there and think, right, so if I want to get this, I'm going to need to do X, Y, and Z. But if I need to do X, Y, and Z, I can't do A, B, and C because that is going against the rules and restrictions. Oh, if only CCP did this. Oh, if only CCP did that. If CCP had this type of mechanic, then this would be actually possible. And it's a case of like, oh, maybe I'll wait. Maybe that might happen. Maybe if I voice out, someone will actually change it. And it got to the point where I just said, no, nothing's going to change until I actually do it. And it was at that point I just decided, no, I need to actually do this account, try this gameplay out, and if I wanted to try and share it with people, share it out and record it and put it through. And it was at that point I decided, no, okay, I've got something here. I find it's interesting to me. Maybe others might find it interesting as well.
Yep, and you clearly won that bet, actually.
Oh no, I did, 100%, and I've seen other people start up their own YouTube channels as well with that content, and power to them, genuinely, because the entire like solo gameplay thing, especially if you're an older vet, to me, it's like creating a goal for yourself and then seeing how far you can get with it. Because
Yeah,
let's be honest, how easy is it to just do exploration? Say, for example, you go out to nullsec, you spend 1 or 2 hours doing exploration sites in nullsec. You come back with like what 200 million ISK worth of stuff, and then you can just buy
e-
a ship that you really want. It's
yeah,
it's not that hard. It's not that hard. I'm not putting anyone down that if that's the way they play Eve, you can play Eve however you want. But it kind of wouldn't defeat the purpose, but it doesn't feel genuine. You know, to me, when I played as a kid, when I finally got the Drake or when I finally got the Caracal or the Osprey, it's like I felt like achievement. I'm like, oh, fantastic! Finally got the ship that I really wanted. I finally got the fitting that I really wanted, and it's hard. It's hard, especially when you've played the game for long enough. It's hard to get that sense of like accomplishment again.
yeah. Well, humans basically we're just chasing dopamine.
Oh
Like
yeah, 100%.
however you get to it, if you're happy, be happy. And that's what that's what got me interested into your channel. Like you do sound genuinely happy about what you're making.
Oh no, I love Eve. I'm sorry. As silly as it sounds, I really do love Eve. It's not just the fact that it's a game that I enjoy playing, but because it's got such a connection to my like early life, it has really shaped the type of
Yeah.
person that I am. Especially with the interactions that I had with people, at a younger age and whatnot. And genuinely, it's also a case of like I love space. I started with Homeworld. Homeworld was like my jam. I loved Homeworld. It was up there as like one of the. I even said it in my first episode talking about how that was my like proper intro to like space games. And
Yeah.
then Eve is just exactly what I wanted. Because once again, Homeworld is like an RTS game, but I didn't play it like an RTS. I played it like a cinematic game. And there's been other games that have done, have scratched that itch. And like Star Wars, for example, the Empire at War, that's also done the same thing as Homeworld, and that's a fantastic game. But it's just not. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the design of the ships in Star Wars. I just don't like them. But when it comes to
Yeah.
the design of the ships in Eve and Homeworld, oh yes, I love them. I absolutely love. Like they're unique. There's something that is so different. And I've looked at ships from Freelancer, from the X Games, and they're cool as well. But there's just something about the ships
Yeah,
in
they're not
Eve.
Eve, yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to describe. Like, props to the art department, props to the guys who modeled these ships all the way back in 2003, and props to the guys who have given new models and breathed new life into these ships. Because my God, you look at a ship and you're like, that's a Caldari ship. It's hard to
Yeah,
describe. It's like you look at an Amarian ship and you're like, that is peak Amar. Look at the gold on it. Look at the curves. You can tell that's Amarian. You look at a Galente ship and you're like, that is like an art piece. You know that is a Galente ship because it's got the roundness to it,
absolutely.
the fatness to it. And then you look at a Minmatar ship and you're like, that is you look at the silhouette and you know that is a Minmatar ship. It's cobbled together. It's got the rust. It's got the solar
Yeah, yeah.
panels, and it's like fantastic. It genuinely is. It's difficult to explain, but it's just they've always appealed to me. And once again, I love ships, so this is like perfect game.
No, I agree. Maybe it's funny, like, we come from different places. Like, my first space game I've ever played was Eve, actually. And I started when I was, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, like 38. So I kind of regret not knowing about it before. Like, I have a good, in real life friend who always, told me about it. Like, the guy started in 2003, like day one. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll keep playing WoW. It's more of my jam. Like, I don't understand the whole concept of EVE Online. And then, when I closed my company like a few years ago, I was like, well, let's give it a try. Like, I always loved the crafting side of things, and Ultima Online, WoW, whatever. And I was like, I was hooked. Like, it took me like half a second, and I knew I would play that game for at least a decade, probably more.
Same thing with me and Eve. Is like as soon as I started playing the game, even after turning the tutorial off and being in a panic, I just knew this is it.
Yeah.
This is the one. This is genuinely the one. Um, I'll share something really embarrassing with you as well because I did start playing Eve as a teen, and in school we had. Have you ever heard of the term of a solo talk
Nope.
presentation, so to
Oh,
speak?
yeah, yeah.
So the idea being is that you were supposed to find a topic that you like, do research on said topic, and then do a presentation for like a 5 minute, 15-minute presentation. Do you want to know what I did as my presentation?
Eve?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Cue 14-year-old me with a PowerPoint presentation, and for a whole hour, I talked all about Eve. I talked about the different races. I talked about the different lore, the different ships. I talked about my corporation, who I'm part of. I talked about all the different guys that I know in the corporation, where they're from, and everything. And then to put the cherry on top, to put the bloody cherry on top, I left my buddy code at the end as well.
Did you?
I did for the whole
Nice.
class as well. Oh god! And the thing is, like the
Did
teacher
anyone use
enjoyed.
their code?
Yes, I had people who used the code. They played the
Really?
game for like they played it for the trial period, and that was it. And I was like, but
Wow.
oh damn. The thing is, it was like that solo talk. I remember the teacher turning around. I was like, that was supposed to only be 15 minutes. You've taken up the whole class time for this bloody solo talk. I was like, but I was passionate. Loved Eve that much. As I had to make an entire like presentation about it.
That's amazing.
Super, super silly, super duper silly, but it just shows it's just this the silly game has been so influential to me.
Yep, it's probably gonna keep being essential for a while. That's the thing. Like Eve's kind of a forever game. You know, like yes, I guess we all quit at one point, but we'll all be back. And like I know it.
Oh no, 100%. And it's difficult. It's difficult because once again, there's a lot of bitter vets, and the problem is that a lot of these bitter vets don't play the game. Um, I'm not trying to call people out, but let's be perfectly honest. There's a lot of guys who've played the game, bitter vets, they've left, and then they're trying to dictate what needs to change in the game. And it's like, have you not played the last like two patches? Things are different now.
Yeah, well,
We
some
we
people
get
aren't as fond of change as some others are, and that's okay. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like Eve's for everyone, actually.
Yeah, and I get it. I get it. I can understand. Like, for example, when the carrier changes hit, people were not happy with the reduced jump ranges on all the what's it called, capital ships, and then jump fatigue getting added in, and then the what's it called, extra what's it called, the jump fatigue at the beginning, and then the jump fatigue for like longer. Do you know what I mean by that? It's got
Yeah,
you got the short timer one, and then you got longer timer one. It's like, oh my lord, oh my lord. That was a tough time. A lot of people were not happy with that, but we're still here, and it was
we
a
are.
needed change. It was a needed change because big no blocks could just move their entire capital assets to the other side of Eve, and that's not fine. That I don't think that's a good idea. It was beneficial for us because we could just move all our PI not PI goods, our moon goo to sell at high sec. But that change needs to be done. And I honestly do feel like when it comes to it now, especially since 2010, I think 2011, like the Tyrannus update, and then 2012 up there was like the peak of Eve, in my opinion. And what I mean by peak, I mean like player count and
Yeah,
not alts, right? This is the thing I like to point out. It's not
yeah,
alts. I
humans.
I feel there was a lot more people like playing like one or two accounts, not multi-boxing multiple accounts. Not saying it wasn't a thing that happened. 100%. I've known corps. I've known people that have ran like 7 to 8 alts doing mining ops with it. It did happen back then, but I felt that there was a lot more people like playing one account at a time.
The thing
And
is, I think Eve are trying to get new players. You know, not even back in the game. Yes, I guess they would want the vets to come back, but it feels like the direction they're taking is that they really want to bring new blood, like genuinely.
oh
And we
no,
actually need it
100%.
because if the game was just bitter vets, it would become so toxic at one point. You know what I mean? Like we
Oh
need
no,
every
100%.
game needs new blood. It needs to evolve somewhere.
It does. And
So I
Eve
trust
is
them to do that. Like like some people are like, yeah, Hello Kitty Island, whatever. I'm like, just let let CCP do its thing, and I trust the process.
because the thing is, right? Even though I would love to give them suggestions and give them ideas, they're doing the right thing of not listening to the community. Because let's be honest, a lot of people have some really bad ideas. Right, okay. I try to be like impartial. I try to look at the ideas that I put forward and then look, right, what could be the problems with it? How can you exploit this? How could you go so far to like take the piss? And yeah, I do agree with some of the changes that CCPs. They're like that. Oh, one of the things that I love the most is see the when they added the residue mechanics. I
Yeah,
like that idea. And did you remember the fallout from Reddit where people were unhappy with the residue mechanics? They were like, "Oh, this is horrible. This is awful. Why are you adding this thing?" It's like, well, they need to add more mechanics so they can expand on mining as a whole. Because let's be honest, mining's a bit boring. Mining's a bit,
yeah. But
it's second screen.
it recently became much more dynamic.
Exactly, but it had to start somewhere. And the thing that I find absolutely hilarious, and maybe I'm reading the map. Maybe I've not really figured it out that well. But when they added in the residue mechanics, they pretty much doubled the volume of nearly every asteroid in the game.
Yep.
So they doubled the amount of ore in every asteroid, and then they added in a 30% residue mechanic for certain mining lasers or certain crystals. So even if you were unlucky and rolled the 30% every cycle, you're still up
You're still
70%.
winning, yeah.
You're still up. You've got more ore now. And it's honestly, it's a case of like, once again, the ISK per hour mentality, and they just want more. They just like, no, we don't want nerfs, we want buffs. But the idea of the waste mechanics then adds more mechanics. So that now we've got mining criticals. Now we've got the mining ship survey module
Yeah.
that reduces the residue, increases crit chance, and it's like, this is great because you can then expand on that further. Like, I would like, granted, this would benefit me in my Man mode a lot, but it would be so cool to see a cruiser-sized ore vessel that focused on mining critical. That would be pretty cool, where it has just the one laser, and all it does is that has a high critical chance. It has lower yield, but it's all about rolling those criticals, baby. Let's go, dopamine.
Yep.
And it would be like, that's the thing. Like, you need to start somewhere, and residue was a good start, and then mining gets a bonus, and then you've got the phase fields, and you've got the special prismaticite ore. It's like there's more and more content that they're adding on that is just
Yeah,
good
next
changes.
expansion, at the end of it, we might see Face Field in high sec now, from what I
Oh,
hear. What
oh,
is it, the Mimitar part? Anyways, one of the empires, that's one of the the goals of those war thingies. So yeah,
yeah, and I love that as well. The fact that CCP has finally decided to give up just having everything static when it comes to the empires, because one of the biggest gripes is that it's been what, 20, 23 years, and the borders haven't really changed much, in the sense of, like, low
yep,
sec. If you take track out low sec, that's factional warfare that's been going on for long enough. But when it comes to high sec and stuff, it's been the same for quite a while. You've had changes with the Triglavian invasion, having systems be pulled out and whatnot, but it's now there's going to be a lot more player agency that they can point the, you know, influence things a little bit more with the empires. From what I've seen with the war goal stuff for the next expansion, it looks like that's what they're going to try and do. Where they're going to try and change certain high sec systems, possibly. This is me speculating, of course, where certain war goals can change different systems in high sec over, which would be
yep.
interesting, because then now that's a dynamic. Like the
Well,
other
there's just
event,
with my main characters, like they're like the Galente side. They're like they want to bring Intaki closer in terms of jumps and new drones and stuff, and then Mimitar gets, I don't know, like the face field stuff, and like
yep,
Amar, what is it, like taxes, and
yep,
like, yeah, of
and I
course,
think
shake things up a bit. Yeah,
exactly,
they've
exactly.
catered.
It's just
They like, I feel like when I started and before that, they've catered so much only to the big null block alliances.
100%.
Like, and yes, those are the whales. Those are the guys who are swiping the credit card the most, and I get that. But as a new player, or as someone who's not interested into going into like applying to fucking Walmart, well, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
No,
I like the direction it's taking now. Like Nullbros have had it all for a decade, I guess.
but
Now
that's the
it's time that some
but
other people have fun too.
it's unfortunate, but that's where the money is. that's where
Yeah.
that's where CCP gets their money, and their bottom line at the end of the day is their company. They want to make sure that they make money, and it's
Well, of
actually quite
course.
funny. It's actually quite funny. I actually looked at their financial report for the back in April, just before they sold over to
Yeah.
bought back from Pearl Abyss. Eve is currently their only thing that's making money, which makes sense because Eve Frontier and Eve Vanguard is in development. But it's
Yep.
not a case of like they're worried about the game shutting down. They Eve
Oh, Eve
if
is
Eve Front
performing.
yes, if Eve Frontier was shut down and if Eve Vanguard was shut down today, Eve would still be going because Eve is currently their most money maker.
Yep.
And I see where CCP is going. They want to expand Eve more. They've been trying so hard to not just have this one golden goose game. They want to like expand their portfolio, have multiple different games, an entire Eve universe. And I get it, and I think it's wonderful, and I think it's a good way to go. But they've just been had really bad planning.
Yep.
Like, I get it. I like, my favorite thing that they added was Dust 514. When they added that game in and added the Eve integration with, like, orbital bombardments and stuff, and being able to talk to the dust bunnies and local and everything, I thought that was amazing. But it's just a shame that the only way that Dust 514 could actually work was by partnering up with Sony and having it as a PlayStation 4 exclusive. Was it, oh,
Yeah.
no, sorry, PlayStation 3 exclusive right at the end of the generation of the console. That was I felt like CCP got dealt a really bad hand. If they had it for the PS4 and had it a PS4 exclusive, oh my god. Dust 514 would have been a great hit because people loved the game. People did enjoy Dust 514 because it was like a Battlefield but in the Eve universe, a new IP, so to say, something new,
Yeah.
something interesting. I just I don't know how they're gonna do Vanguard. I really like I know it's gonna be an extraction shooter, which upsets me because that ship has sailed. Like, extraction shooters came and went, right? It's not as popular as the as CCP thinks it is. And I hope to God, like this is my hopium that they just take Vanguard and just say, nah, fuck it, we're gonna do something similar to Dust 514. Bang, we're just gonna bring that back. But
Yeah, they could do
it,
that.
it's interesting to me. I don't know if it's true or if it's a rumor, but people are saying that not the Dust, the Vanguard mercenaries are going to be able to get loot off of wrecks that were destroyed and not dropped. So let's say, for example, you blew up a ship in Eve and it had an A type, and that A type didn't drop. Well, Vanguard guy could actually explore the wreckage for you. And wow, look at this! We found an A type invulnerability field. Maybe we
Right.
can salvage that and then sell it on the market. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is something that someone's made up, but that would be something
Oh, that would be good
very
to integrate it more into, like the way I see Eve Online. Like, yes, do have other projects, but keep Eve Online at the center and make those games interact with each other. I don't know how exactly, but that's the way I would see it.
yeah. A lot of people are also saying when it comes to Eve Frontier that is good. That is Eve 2.0. That they're putting a lot of time and effort in Eve Frontier because this is like that's the game they wanted Eve to be in the first place. Like this, build your own stuff, have it
Yeah.
all. Manual, code your own stuff, code your own drones and all that stuff. That's what they wanted Eve 2.0 to be. But that is like you think Eve Online is a niche, Eve Frontier is even more of a niche,
I haven't
because
tried it yet. I probably will at some point, but yeah.
I have had a lot of people ask me to try Eve Frontier because of how similar it is to my playthrough
Yeah,
and my
Ironman,
restriction.
yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? I would like to try it, but you're telling me I gotta code stuff? I don't want to code again. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But no, it's honestly, I feel the best way that CC like this is my own personal opinion, but I've got the Eve books. I've read all the Eve books, and I think they're wonderful. I honestly feel if they'd done an animation adaptation of the Eve books, that would be fantastic. That would
Oh,
get
that would be
so many
crazy,
people.
yeah.
That would be get so many people who don't know anything about Eve into the Eve universe, because it is when you look at the Enclave. Is it the Enclave? Is it called the Enclaves? I don't know. I'll quickly check. But when you look at some of the Eve lore stuff that you have, they are just amazing and how rich the actual world is, and the books go into it as well.
Yeah, and Eve's lore is the first probably 2 years I've played Eve, I was like, wait, there's lore? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah,
was it? But then I dove into it and I was like, they have to do more about that. Like, that would help bring people. Like, like I know a whole bunch of people who've never painted a mini in their life, but they can quote Warhammer 40K lore.
yes, yes, and I've just remembered the word. It's the Chronicles. Have you ever heard of the Eve Chronicle?
I've heard of it, yeah.
There you go. So this is fantastic. They've been adding it in since like the beginnings. And if you go to like the YC 102, you can see some of the older artworks and some of the older Chronicle stuff of Eve, and it's just in-game lore that they've added in as every year goes by. Like there is, if I remember correctly, there's also an Eve Chronicle talking about the Old Man Star.
Really?
Yep. This tells you what the lore behind the Old Man Star is, and how the formation of the gate happened, and how it was essentially just an engineer that the ship was flying slower than light to to the system. Sorry, and the ship got hit. Everyone else died except for this engineer, and he just used his engineering skills to rebuild the ship and build a gate on the other side.
Really?
That's very prefaced, but it's like the lore is there. There's so much, so much.
The lore is there, but I feel like it's not pushed forward as it should. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I'm glad that CCP is going down that route of actually adding more lore to the game, but also giving a player agency, especially with this new expansion coming up. I really hope this new expansion is it's going to be a good one.
It's going to
And
help
there,
shape that lore.
yep. And the thing that I love the most is that it is being what's it called, new player what's it called, focused, because
Yeah.
we do need new players. We need new players to get shot at, and we need new players to shoot at us. So
Yep. And I need new players to die so I can then make ISK selling them ships. So yeah, well,
exactly,
full circle,
exactly.
you know.
The full circle, the circle of New Eden.
Yep. So while we're approaching the end of of that podcast episode, I was wondering, do you have any anything to say to someone who wants to start, like, be it like an Ironman challenge like yours, or create one of his own, like?
Go for it. That's honestly the best way to do it, is to just go for it. And you don't have to follow the rule set that I have. It's the rule set that I have is what I've set out for myself to challenge myself. You can make it so that you can use other player owned structures. In fact, you can even make it a little bit easier for yourself and just say, right, well, I can buy the blueprint copies off of other players, but I can't buy the actual ships or the modules off of other players. It's not a case of like you've just got to follow my rule set and you've got to get it exactly on the dot. Experiment, change a few things around, find what fits for you, because it's an interesting way to play the game. It's not the intended way, because once again, Eve is all about the interaction with other players. But setting yourself a little personal goal and actually going forward with it and learning the different mechanics required into Eve can not only be rewarding, but it could also set you up to what you would like to do in Eve in the first place. And honestly, you've got nothing to lose, because at any point you can just say around and be, well, I'm not really for the Iron Man life, and that's fine. You can play Eve normally like everyone else.
Basically, just, well, it's a sandbox, right? I mean, and
Exactly.
you know, even though like those Ironman challenges or whatever are not the way the game is intended to be played, at the same time, that game is what you make it, anyways.
Exactly. And because of the sandbox nature of Eve, you can just play it how you wish to be played.
Yeah, if people can do like some pacifist challenges on WoW, which is supposed to be a sandbox, but it's a fake one. Imagine what you can do, inside Eve, if you just take the time to think about what your goal is. Then you can come up with so many different types of challenges and stuff.
Oh no, totally, 100%. And the
Like,
thing
Eve is
is,
really a blank canvas compared to, like, fake open world, quote unquote sandboxes that actually are pretty linear in the end.
and it's just the way that Eve is a game that you have to set your own goals. It
Like, you
is
can start an Ironman and just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a drug dealer and I'll only make boosters."
exactly,
You can
and
do that.
that can be done. Everything in Eve has got a way for you to do it. Whether you put restrictions on yourself or whether you actually do it with no restrictions, the core part of it is setting a goal for yourself and trying to figure out what it is you want to do. And once again, this harpers back to the start, where I really hope that with this new area that CCP has added, that they do actually give you a taste of what you can do in Eve and help you guide your way to where you find a niche or you find a way of playing the game that you would actually enjoy.
Yeah, because the career agents give you like a taste of the game, but it's very limited, right?
It's extremely limited, and the problem that I have with the career agents is that a majority of it is reading. And let's be
Yeah,
honest, no one wants to read.
that's very true.
It's like I just want to fly my ship, or I just want to pew pew at stuff, or I want to mine rocks, or want to do industry and feel good about myself.
Point me to something, but if I want to read a novel, I'll buy a novel.
Exactly, exactly. And it's just the way it is. Eve is a complicated game, so reading is going to need to be done. But the players have done their best to make it as seamless and easy as possible. Honestly, my hats go off to the guys at Eve Uni and everyone else who does wikis and tutorials and
Yeah.
other videos help out. You guys are doing God's work. You really are, because I don't know where I would be if I couldn't actually just go on Eve Uni and quickly check something out, some
But
obscure
without
old
that,
content.
God, yeah.
God,
And I do admire evil, or even content creators who do like guides and stuff. Like seriously, that saved my life. Like otherwise I would have quit that game after a week because I wouldn't have understood anything.
but no, it is a fantastic game. I love it.
Yep.
I've been here shackled to it for what, 15 years now.
Yeah.
Maybe no, 15 years. Damn, it's been 15 years. Damn, I'm old.
Are you? Thank you.
Oh no, I didn't even mean it like that. Sorry, man. Sorry. Oh god. Oh.
Yep. So also, thanks for taking the time to join the podcast. And if you guys are listening to this and you're not following EVEAlone, well, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You'll do that right now.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers, mate.